But what I want to know is what kind of negotiating are they doing, and who with?
But starving yourself is a political weapon.
You mean hunger strikes, a form of self-sacrifice. Cesar Chavez. The mayor of Dublin lived for 74 days in a British jail in 1920 before finally succumbing. Political prisoners are starving now. I don't know. Maybe she felt powerless too. After a certain stage in starvation, the body processes begin to change in a way that scientists don't even know about. You may become energetic or lethargic. You may keep your breath till the very end, or they may dry up and disappear. Cachexia, it's called. Oh, and all the time you're always thinking about food. Our daughter had a subscription to Gourmet magazine. Isn't that ironic? She used to bake food to give to people as gifts. You stop having your period. Some researchers say that starvation is a form of population control. Your hair gets thin, your skin changes color, you bruise and scar. Your liver and kidneys suffer damage. A British suffragist who went on hunger strikes wrote of her experiences, the agony she suffered. She never really recovered from the last one. The Germans gave orders to starve the Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto. They had less than 300 calories a day. The Jewish doctors inside, as they were starving, performed the most extensive tests on themselves and their fellow sufferers. Some of their research survived, but most of the doctors died. Sometimes when you are given food to eat again, you just can't eat it. You've almost forgotten how, and it becomes almost impossible to gain weight. You feel like an animal. You're afraid to eat in company, yet you know you are dying to eat. We read of a starving Dutch couple in the war who ate the body of their dead little girl, and later, after they had been fed, they were overcome with remorse. Sometimes, not even the best intentioned doctors can save you, and you pass away anyway, like she did.
Some peculiar, or at least especially in those days, ideas about the disjunction, about camera movement, camera placement, acting, the distance between the actor and the text, all trying to interfere with any notions of realism, and also obviously laughter, since this is not a funny subject, but it's very difficult to go through this whole thing without laughing at some of the things that they say, which is another way that I had of trying to, in fact, both of them, trying to interrupt the idea that I'm trying to evoke a kind of empathic response. It was my sort of attempt at a Brechtian anti-Aristotelian reading. Of course, it's not like most productions of Brecht, but that is what I was aiming for, was to separate all the different elements. The next tape was done with a public access collective called Paper Tiger Television, which is a bunch of dedicated amateurs, relentless amateurs, who are quite great, put on a half-hour show every week since 1981, in which people, usually an academic, sits on a chair in front of a hand-painted set and deconstructs a publication whether it's Sailing magazine, or I did Vogue magazine at one point, or the New York Times was the first one, and Donna Haraway did a paper tiger tape that was a little more global. It wasn't about a specific publication. This one is a little different from the person and the publication, partly because I'm not an academic, but also because this was based on a lecture I gave about motherhood and representation, and it's about the first highly publicized surrogate motherhood case called Baby M. And I told them that I would be happy to do it, but only if we could do it as a costume drama and a burlesque. So that's what we do. I don't know what happened to the sound on the other one. I hope this doesn't do that.
Können das in das DVDs? Yeah.
And this will be the last.
Dad! Where do babies come from anyhow?
Why, mothers bring them into the world.
But why do mothers bring them?
Johnny, by the grace of heaven, mothers are the only ones who know how to bring babies.
This is the fire that has us for a minute.
What we're doing is putting technology down on the table and saying, let's create your child.
So we have one beautiful egg.
You're not really a man if you can't father a child.
Laws yet to protect us and to guide us through our technology, our desires, and our dreams. Betsy Aaron, ABC News, New York.
Favorite route to social control, from laws regulating sexual behavior to laws against suicide to lie detector tests and blood tests for drugs and for AIDS. These bodily traces provide a suitably fragmented reading of body parts that aren't even parts in any normal sense of the word. These readings are made by and for an ill-defined society whose boundaries and contents are equally obscure. In tune with this vision of the world as a bunch of pieces, there's a greater and greater trend towards seeing the world as a set of incommensurabilities, an impossible jigsaw puzzle whose parts we can never seem to fit together. More and more, we see the world as made up of individuals, families, and their private life up against the great, big, dangerous, and obscure world that's best left to the care of the state. This is the world according to Ollie North. In other words, we're losing the conviction that we can affect the world. The concept of a public sphere in which every citizen participates in social decision-making is disappearing very fast, and the boundaries of personal action are closing in. This may help explain why the desperate desire to have children is taken for granted. The world seems to offer few rewards for the childless and few ways outside family life to make a meaningful mark.